Imagine being around 120 kilometers from the nearest tar road and hours away from civilization. The nearest people are around 50 kilometers away from you, and there is nothing between you and wild nature. In the evening you have a few small lights, a fire, and then darkness. You hear the bone-chilling roar from a lion in the distance and start to feel very vulnerable. Out here we are in the habitat of the wild animals. There are a lot of them higher in the food chain than us, but we are here to experience this raw nature. We will be spending 3 weeks camping in the Southern Kalahari, the Okavango Delta, and in Central Kalahari, photographing the stunning nature of Southern Africa. Welcome to Botswana.
This is part of our film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big safari hunters, on we go.
We first started out in Hamburg, Germany, and took a flight to Istanbul. And we had some trouble starting. First of all, flight was delayed from Hamburg to Istanbul. We had way too much luggage, especially hand luggage because of all the camera stuff. And then we just had like 20 minutes to change gates in Istanbul and had to walk very, very far with all the heavy land luggage. But that all worked out, and we got on board the flight towards Johannesburg, where we had a pickup arranged. So the guy would take us all the way to the truck and trailer. We picked that up, and yeah, our plan was to go to somewhere near the border to Botswana on the first day, and we ended up in Zeerust in a small, lovely lodge where we got to spend the last night in civilization with running water, or with unlimited running water, and from there on out we went into the wild.
Here we go then, Dennis, we're off and running. Happy hunting. Got to remember to have a trailer, that's the only thing. It doesn't break quite as quick as what you would think.
Good morning from Zeerust. We had a very, very long travel day yesterday and stayed in this beautiful farm lodge here, and just right outside our back door we have fence and then bushes behind. Lovely little garden, and yeah, we're up quite early and gonna grab some breakfast to go now. And today is another very long travel day over the border into Botswana, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so it's getting really warm outside, 28 degrees Celsius right now. We're in Ruaneng. Border crossing was very easy, and we're just stocking up on the last couple of things, and then we're going off-road and probably not have reception for the next 5 to 7 days, but it'll be fun, and yeah, we'll take you along. And then after driving for another like 2 or 3 hours, we just turned off the highway onto a sand track. And we stopped and deflated our tires so we wouldn't sink in as much and can drive properly on it. And then for 4 or 5 hours we just drove this almost straight line into nature and nothingness, and we did not see a single car. Even like the 2 or 3 hours on tar road, we saw 15, 16 cars max. That was a highway. So that is very, very remote. And the place we were going was a private game reserve, which is absolutely fantastic because we were the only people for 40 kilometers in every direction. We got there just as the sun was setting, and Roger has been setting up the trail a couple of times, like a lot of times, but always with his wife Julia, and this was the first time I'm doing it. And so it's getting dark quite fast. We had to set up the trailer for the very first time, and we also had to watch around because there's just animals and nature around you. And then when we set up the trailer, everything, we warmed up our lunch package from the lodge and had some sandwiches and fries. I heard a lion roar. Like, I knew how a lion roar sounded because Roger showed me when we were still in Germany. It was very distant, or it seemed very distant because I didn't know how loud it was, and Roger said, yeah, that's a lion, it's about kilometer away, that direction. Let's pack up and go. We set out in absolute complete darkness with the headlights of the car, and we didn't even have the big torch because the batteries were somewhere in the trailer and we didn't know where it was, so we had like this very small torch. And then we went out, and I knew nothing, so when you just see two eyes reflecting somewhere in the dark, you can make out a bit of a color, but is it a lion? Is it a rabbit? Is it deer? That was very, very exciting for me. And then after, I don't know, what felt like 10, 15 minutes maybe, we saw a lion. Just appeared in the headlights. I had just had my phone with me, like the camera was in the backpack. I wasn't ready to see a lion that early. And there it was. That was absolutely amazing, just seeing this huge animal that close. That was such an amazing feeling, and that was the first time I saw such a huge and beautiful animal in wild nature, and that I'll remember forever. After spending some time with the lion, basically watching him walk by, we tried to follow him around a bit, but then he basically walked across the pan towards our camp. We were like roughly a kilometer away from it, and drove around the pan because you're not allowed to go straight over, and tried to find it, but he was gone. Couldn't see him. And even after looking for like 10-15 minutes more, we couldn't find him. And then we decided, okay, maybe it's time to go back to camp. Sat down, had a little drink, and we were also quite tired. And we heard the lion roar again, sounding closer. And back in the car we went, looking again, couldn't find him. Going back to camp, deciding, okay, let's go to bed. Let's try again tomorrow. And the funny thing is, this trailer, you can stand up in it. I'm 1.90 meters, no problem standing up, and like it folds to the outside. So you sleep half on the inside, half on the outside. It's perfectly on eye level with a lion. And you basically sleep on wood and then a mattress, and then like you have a tarp cover around. You can unzip it a bit, and then you have like this mosquito net, but you can look outside. And there I'm lying, first night in Africa, camping, no fence around me, sleeping with my head outside of the trailer, and hearing this lion roar over and over and over again, sounding closer and closer and closer. Roger opened up the tarp just for the mosquito netting, and he was perfectly fine with it. And I was like, I tried it and looked outside and was like, if I wake up and look into a lion's eye or face or even see something, I'm gonna shit my pants. So I closed it up again. I wouldn't. And I think I woke up 5, 6, 7 times that night from the lion's roar. It sounded like it was right next to my head. It was that loud, and everything else is quiet. So that was a great night. I slept very good and very bad at the same time. And then just at daybreak, Roger woke up from the lion's roar. I was like, come on, Dennis, wake up, we gotta go. And we got up, put on clothes, and Roger already went to the car, checked outside if there's anything. And just as I stepped on the very top stair of the trailer, you could hear the lion roar. And it was bloody close. And then we went into the car, and just as we drove off from the trailer, it was like sitting on top of a small hill with a little tree in the middle, or 2 trees, and then just a path ever so slightly down to the pan. And just as we went to the very top of this little path, the lion came walking up. He was 100 meters away from us, from where we were sleeping. And I just got the camera ready as quickly as I can. It was almost pitch dark. Just the sun was coming up ever so slightly, and I managed to take the first picture with my camera. It's super noisy. It's not the greatest picture, but I still love the picture because it was my first picture of a lion that was not in the zoo or whatever. So that was kind of a hell of a start for this trip. I wasn't expecting to see lions. I was really hoping for it, but I wasn't expecting it because Roger said, worst case, we're gonna see lovely nature, lovely skies, but no animals, because in the end, they're wild animals. There's no water around. Gotta get lucky. And that was absolutely amazing. During the day, it was awfully hot. We had 42 degrees Celsius in the shade. There was hardly any shade, so what we did during the day was basically trying to get a bit used to the trailer, where everything was, kind of thinking about what we're gonna cook, what we're gonna eat, how much water we have, is it enough? We brought plenty, but still, we were drinking really a lot, and then kind of relax in the shade and have a little nap. And then in the evening we did another nice drive around the Pan for about an hour. Also saw a couple of animals again, and then just when we were back in camp and had dinner again, we had a small fire going, which was very, very nice. We heard a lion again. Can I close down the kitchen again?
Yeah, afraid so.
Whirring in the distance, basically more or less same direction and distance as in the first night. So we went off again, but it was a bit further away, and we were looking for half an hour maybe, when we just caught a very small glimpse, because the path around the Pan has a bit of distance to the Pan, but also a bit of distance to the bushes around it. And the lion was walking way off at the bushes side. Yeah. And we just caught a very small glimpse of it. The video footage, you can just make out that it is a lion, and yeah, but that was still 3 lions in 2 days. How much more lucky can you get? And then the 3rd day came. So Roger spent roughly 100 nights in this private game reserve and has never seen a leopard. And as we were driving around, Roger was like, that looks strange. Then I said, what do you think it is? And I saw probably just grass. And Roger was almost continuing on driving and was like, no, I'm gonna have a closer look. I'm glad he did. This leopard was quite young, and it was such a beautiful animal, and it was just the most amazing experience having it this close. He was like maybe 3-4 meters from the car, and then he just walked around the back of the car onto the other side. You could literally see him smell us, and then just wandering off, turning around a couple of times and just continuing on walking off. Just speechless. Absolutely amazing experience. So we had a leopard sighting this morning and were able to take some great pictures. We disturbed him kind of on the hunt for his breakfast, so we just came back to camp and had a little bite ourselves. Now we're going back out and see if we can find him again. And yeah, there's a small herd of steenbok out there, and they were very close to the leopard, so maybe we'll get lucky.
Pretty tidy there, I think.
Yeah.
Backing flip, that's much better for my feet.
So what's the plan now?
Plans to go out and just mooch about, see, wait a bit and have a look around and see what comes up. And then, I mean, it's not even 8 o'clock yet. We just have a good start. Normally, I mean, out on the other, we're normally back in camp by about 9:30, unless we have a really good sighting with Julia. But a day like today is a bit different because it's overcast. It's normally better. And just see what it's about.
So in the end, we ended up not seeing the leopard again or another bigger predator, and we just enjoyed being there alone, away from other people, just enjoying pure nature, silence, being disconnected from the busy world. And that's how we spent our last full day there. And then the next day we got ready to move on, and this is where we're gonna pick you up in part 2.
Morning, Dennis.
Morning, Richard. Enjoying your coffee?